that asylum is the last and only hope for thousands of desperate families fleeing violence and persecution. And so subjecting them to arbitrary hurdles after they've made such a grueling journey, it's plain wrong. And, I think that, as you mentioned with Jim Jordan, this is where it is being recycled from the Trump administration playbook. And it's difficult when you think about the fact that President Biden was one of the original co-sponsors of the Refugee Act. It's just difficult to reconcile how the administration is implementing this now.
I want to stay on the politics of this for a moment, because I think it is what's driving a lot of this discourse. You have Florida Governor Ron DeSantis likely going to throw his hat in the 2024 presidential ring, rolling out new immigration proposals this week that go against his own Republicans in the state. He wants to repeal laws that let DACA recipients get in-state tuition in Florida. He wants all Florida employers to use E-Verify to determine whether employees are legally authorized to work in this country. Now, I think that there are some who rationalize the politics of the Biden administration's decision as a move in part to bring Republicans to the table on something like DACA at the national level. I wonder then what it signals to you that you have DeSantis, who's right now a big player in the party, moving in the other direction.
Yeah, I mean, I think, obviously you have political candidates who are grandstanding, undertaking political stunts. I think there are some political leaders out there who are courageous enough to do the right thing, to allow for the U.S. to remain a welcoming nation. And then there are politicians who get the math of this, right? When we talk about inflation every day, when we talk about supply chain shortages, when we talk about rising wages and how that's affecting the cost of everything from milk to bread to everything else, there are a number of political leaders who understand that we have 11 million jobs that are going unfilled and only 6 million workers who could fill those jobs. And so this is where we need to have a coherent system so that America can welcome those who want to come for economic reasons, but we also have a humanitarian system through refugee resettlement and asylum that allows for us to protect the most vulnerable.
Well, speaking of protecting the most vulnerable, there's a piece, I don't have much time left, but I want to make sure we get to it. The New York Times has this piece detailing the dangerous exploitation of migrant kids who are working in factories and construction across this country, including in states like Florida. These are children who have crossed the border alone. They feel pressure to make money, to sustain themselves, to help their families. I mean, to me, this is a portrait of what happens when the system itself is fundamentally broken.
That's right. And it's a system that is fundamentally broken because we have not had reforms for 3 decades. I hear from business leaders every day who are desperate for talent, desperate for workers. They know that the economy is being impacted. And the fact that because children have come into the U.S., because our policies have thankfully been more lenient towards them, that they are now being exploited and vulnerable to this exact kind of child labor on American soil is a tragedy, and it's a travesty, and it reflects the fact that American political leaders need to stop the political posturing, and they need to actually figure out policies that support American people, the economy, but also protect these vulnerable children.
A tragedy and a travesty indeed. Krish, as always, thank you.